I don't think I've actually ever said this before, certainly not on camera. Hello lads, hope you're well. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that honestly I've wanted to make a video on for absolutely ages. It's something that's been a huge part of sort of my life. It's a huge thing that comes up for a lot of people, and it's just something that has sort of reared its head in the last week or so, last couple of weeks, it being the middle of summer, and it was something that I wanted to talk about. So I don't know why I'm talking like I haven't already given it away with the title of the video, but yeah, I wanted to talk about body image, and this is something that I don't really think comes up as much for men. I think it's something that obviously women really grapple with, often quite publicly, and that's because there are a lot of horrible people on the internet who say a lot of horrible things about celebrities and everything like that. And granted, like I said, I don't think men get the abuse necessarily anywhere near as much as women do when it comes to this subject, and obviously not something that I can relate to being a guy, but I think at the same time it is often something that's completely ignored for men, and that causes it to sometimes be a worse problem. So if there's constant little jumps in this video, I'm filmed by the side of the road. My usual spot is taken up, the sun is literally just going down, and I tried to film there and I couldn't even open my eyes because there was so much sun. But yeah, I think obviously the whole point of this channel is there's not much talking done, or not enough talking I should say, done around men's feelings and things like that, and not in a sort of oversensitive type of way, but in the sense of I think body image is one of the prime things where you don't really see, even celebrities and sort of guys who really talk about their feelings and really try to make men's mental health a big thing. I think it's very rare that you see blokes sort of admitting they're unhappy with how they look. A lot of men will sort of joke about it, especially maybe if they're overweight or if they're short, or someone like Kevin Hart or something like that. It's always sort of the punchline of their joke. And I'm sure Kevin Hart genuinely isn't bothered by his height, but some men who sort of make those jokes really are. I was gifted with the genes of being barely taller than the guy who dropped the ring off at Mordor, but it's something that I just had to deal with. I've got a dad who's 6'3", I've got a brother who's the best part of 6 foot, so moaning about my height didn't really get much sympathy when I was growing up, because no one could really relate to it. I also think when it comes to body image, height is actually, it's not something that's, to me it's something that isn't too much of a bother, in the sense of you kind of have to get over it, because it's one of the only things you cannot change. Even these days you can get moles removed, you can get pretty much, you can get hair replacement, you can get pretty much anything, but unless you're willing to go out in these ridiculous shoes, which I certainly wouldn't advise to men, because to me that just lets everyone in the room know that you're really insecure about your height. I had a boss who came in orthopedic shoes or whatever, and he wasn't even particularly short, but was just naturally mocked ruthlessly for his height because he made it really obvious that it bothered him. But anyway, my point being is, you kind of, if you're short, you kind of just have to get over it. Like you either go through your whole life being miserable and angry, or you sort of go, it is what it is, and sort of deal with it. And I get people that take the mick out of it. Always have, always will. Mainly my closest friends, but they don't do it in a malicious way. They just do it as a bit of fun, and it doesn't really bother me anymore, because I'm sort of at the age where I haven't grown since I was sort of 15, so I knew by about the time I was 18 that I was always going to be a lot shorter than most men, and I'm 26 now, so I've sort of had the best part of a decade to get over it. I want to do this video because I think it's important. I don't want to make light heart of the subject, but I also don't want it to be a depressing video, because the point I'm going to make further on is that basically the long and short of it is, how you look doesn't define your self-worth, and there's always someone that you'd rather look like, and there's always someone that would rather look like you. That's just the way it is. I think you're never, if you're someone who is fundamentally not happy with how you look, the reality is you're probably never going to be absolutely in love with yourself. What you want to get to is where you are okay with how you look. It doesn't actively bother you how you look. Everyone deserves to feel confident, but the reality is you can't teach that, and you never will be able to teach that. And some people do completely make the turnaround, but from certainly my experience as someone who's been on the other end of it, like I don't think I'll ever get to the stage where I look in the mirror and I go, yeah, this is exactly how I want to look, and it will never change. I think that's part of being someone who's into the gym. I think a lot of gym guys always want to be bigger or leaner, and I don't really have that, but I'm certainly not happy with how my body is. Now, like I've mentioned, I'm pretty short. If any of you guys have seen any of my vlogs from the summer and stuff like that, my whole top half is covered in scars from various adventures, I like to call them, over the years. And I think naturally when people sort of see that, they go, oh yeah, I'd understand if you're insecure about that. But for me, it's actually never been that. Certainly my scars, for whatever reason, my scars have never bothered me. Like I said, my height maybe did when I was sort of 18, 19, but now I really don't care about it. The thing I've actually always struggled with is my weight. Like I said, this is where sort of I don't want to make light heart of it, because I've been there. Like I do understand, and it's not something that's funny. And some days there are really days where you're sort of like you just hate being in your own skin. Like I don't want people to think that this is coming from someone who's just read a few Instagram posts online. Like, I don't think I've actually ever said this before, certainly not on camera. But I know what it's like to like look in the mirror and feel physically sick of what you see. Like, I know what it's like to see a photo of yourself and it just completely ruin your day, and that happened to me. It happened to me the other day, which is what sort of spurred me on to finally make this video. And I think I wouldn't say I've ever had I wouldn't say I have an eating disorder at all. Anyone who's seen me sit with a pizza might argue differently, but there are various reasons that I eat quite a lot. Like I said, my dad and my brother are huge guys, so my mum just basically always gave us equal portions, so I'm someone who's always really been able to eat. I think as the years have gone on, I've got a lot lazier with cardio, as most people do. Sort of when you're a kid you run around all the time, but now I don't really bother. And yeah, my main thing was my diet. I've always been reasonably consistent going to the gym in terms of weights, but yeah, cardio is fluctuating. But yeah, I eat way too much. There's no other way of putting it. There have been times where I've got better, and everything like that, and I do try. I actually do find calorie counting quite helpful. It doesn't work for everyone. I think if you come at it with the wrong attitude and you beat yourself up and everything like that, then calorie counting isn't maybe the way to go. But for me, it actually is useful because it makes me far more conscious of what I'm eating, and when I'm sort of more conscious about it, I can sort of justify not eating things. My thing isn't, I wouldn't even say I sort of have a sweet tooth or like I enjoy junk food. I really don't. I actually don't eat that much junk food. My thing is I am literally always hungry. Honestly, it's a talent. Like, I really, like right now, I ate just before I came my walk, but I could quite comfortably eat another whole dinner now for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. Like I said, my dad and my brother are exactly the same. We just eat unfathomable amounts for guys, but they're a lot bigger than I am, so they have a lot more places to put it. And I'm personally, I'm definitely not at the stage anymore, I don't think, where I think I'm sort of morbidly obese or anything like that. I don't think I've got sort of serious body dysmorphia. I think that maybe was the case when I was younger, because although I was very out of shape at points over the last sort of 5 to 7 years, I'm quite lucky as in I don't have the body type where I sort of completely balloon. Like, I've never been sort of really round. My body just sort of more, I don't know, sags, hangs. It's not very nice. But yeah, that's sort of what I've had. I think I mentioned before on this channel that realistically, I think I do need to drop a bit more weight just to look better on camera, I should say. Sort of, I don't hold loads and loads of my body. I sort of hold a lot more. I've got very chubby baby face cheek, which is why I look 10 years younger than I am a lot of the time. But yeah, I'm sat like this now, so you can't really see it, but I do normally carry around a chin or two with me, and that is just overindulgence, really. That is just, I eat a bit too much compared to how much cardio I do. So either I'm a lot better with my walking now, and that has definitely made a difference, sort of doing the 10,000 steps a day minimum, sort of calorie counting. I'm not religious about it. I've mentioned before, I don't sort of track everything, but I only really eat sort of 6 or 7 different meals, and I've sort of have a rough idea what each of them are, so I know when I can put each one in. Obviously when I have alcohol, calories go out the window, but even that, I would say, considering it's the middle of summer, bar a few nights out, I haven't really gone silly on how much I've drunk at all, which, yeah, again, I would definitely say helps. The reason I wanted to talk about sort of my thing with it is because obviously I want to make it easier to relate to, but I also want to sort of come across that there is, I don't want to say light at the end of the tunnel, because I don't think for some people it is that serious. I don't think it particularly got that serious for me. Like, I don't get me wrong, I absolutely hated the way I look, but I was at the stage of, cool, I'm just going to be fat and ugly for life. But I was never like, oh, I wouldn't say I ever got to the stage of I don't want to be here anymore because of how I look. But I think the main message that I would try and get across to people that are struggling with things like this and have gone through things like this the reality is, I'm probably never going to be able to change. Sitting here through the camera, I'm never going to be able to change how you view yourself. That is work you've got to do, and it is work that isn't easy at all. It's work that will pay off no matter how painful it is. But what I can do, and what message I can try and get home to you, is how you look does not determine your self-worth. You may think whatever of how you look, but that does not determine if you're a good person. It does not determine what you're worth. It does not determine whether you deserve love, or whether you deserve friends, or whether you deserve a partner, or whatever. Whatever you think of how you look, that does not give you a reason to not be nice to yourself. Is sort of what I'd say. And the reality is, if you are unhappy with how you look, it does take work. It does take work. It does take, if counting your calories works for you, do that. If weighing yourself once a week works for you, that's great. And that might mean, when I say weighing yourself, that might mean overweight or underweight, whatever it is you're sort of struggling with. But my advice would be, if there's one thing that I'd say, would be, whatever you do, just eat as healthy as you can. Whether you're looking to put on weight or drop down weight, healthy body, healthy mind. If you are putting healthier things in your body, it's going to be better. Obviously, when it comes to weight loss and weight gain, it's calories in, calories out, obviously. But if you're someone who's looking to gain weight, and you're doing that by eating 2 pizzas a day, yeah, you'll put on weight, but your insides aren't going to be good and your brain's not going to be good. If you're looking to lose weight and you go, yeah, I've had a pizza, so now I'm just going to starve myself so I'm still under my calories, it's still not a good, healthy way to go about it, and in the long run it's not going to be good for you. Obviously my channel is mainly aimed more at men, and I'd obviously made the comment at the start in terms of, I think it's not something that's discussed as widely for men, and I want to sort of justify that. And it's something that I hadn't really noticed, but something I was sort of thinking about the other day. And I know, I think it was Lizzo who did that very controversial cover on Cosmopolitan, and obviously in women's side of things there's a huge thing about body positivity, but that doesn't really carry over to the men's side. I don't remember the last time I saw a plus size male model or something like that, or again, like I mentioned, sort of a male celebrity talking about how he looks, but sort of being positive about it. Again, men that sort of maybe aren't sort of the classic good looking type. I'm not saying they don't get work, they obviously do, but it's the butt of the joke. Like I said, sort of Kevin Hart about his height. If you think of Zach Galifianakis, who's Alan in The Hangover, sort of how he looks is often the butt of the jokes, and that's fine with if you're comfortable with how you look. But imagine if you're someone who looks like that, who isn't comfortable with how they look. That's not going to be easy to watch. But look, speaking to the guys, but speaking to anyone, the best way you're gonna get control of your body is being healthy. Is being in the gym, going for walks, going for runs, for cycles, and eating properly. And I promise you, even if you don't visibly see a difference in your body, I promise you in your mind you will feel different. You will just feel better from doing that. Look, look at the time, I've talked for about 17 minutes with my little pauses. It's probably still over 12 minutes. I try not to make these too long, and I try not to turn them into rants or anything like that. I do try to turn them more into stories. But look, thank you for making it all the way to the end. I do appreciate you guys who stick around. If you did find any of this useful, please do consider liking, subscribing. As always, comment any other advice you have below, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care, lads.